Well, I just got through reading all of Phil Jackson's statement. Phil Jackson blamed the media for everything that went wrong with the New York Knicks. The media is what did him in. All this time, we was wondering why Phil Jackson's tenure didn't work. Who knew? All this time, it was the media. Man, Phil, the media? Hit the like button one time for Phil Jackson blaming the media. What's up, HD? The media is what did him in. So, let's get to it. Was there any truth in it? He stated that they painted him as a racist for making a statement about Carmelo Anthony when he didn't make a statement about Carmelo Anthony. He was saying a leopard can't change its spots, and everyone else assumed and associated that statement with Carmelo. But he never did that. Everyone else did. And they took that as a racist statement, and from that moment on, he was clarified as being a racist person. Phil. So, when he made a statement in a book about LeBron James' friends being a group of, what he said, homies, a posse. He used the word LeBron and his posse. You know, Phil's an old hippie. Posse was a word that we used from 1986, 85, all the way into like 1990. Everybody was a posse. Yo, what's up, man? Just chilling with my posse. So Phil is old. So Phil saying a posse makes sense. Flossing with the posse. LeBron spun that into some race thing in an attack on Mav Carter and the rest of the posse. He took that as if we won't stand for this and this injustice, and when someone like Phil says something like that, and there it is. They changed the whole narrative on Phil. And the media, for some reason, didn't like Dolan and the Knicks, and they took it out on Phil. So Phil blamed the media. For all that went down. Hit the like button, good people. Hit the like button. Now, let's look at it, ladies and gentlemen. Start your engines. So Phil wants us to believe It was the media who got rid of a head coach for the New York Knicks who was a black man. What was his name? Who was the head coach for the Knicks? The brother. Mike Woodson. They were actually winning games with Woodson. And they were doing all right. But Phil knew coming over, this wasn't ideal. They wanted Phil to be the head coach. Phil wanted to be the GM. Because Phil don't want to be sitting on the sidelines no more and jumping up and moving and hurting his knees. So he'd rather be up in the booth. But he do want them to play his style of basketball, which was to run the triangle offense. And who he could trust with this information of running the triangle? Derek Fisher. Derek Fisher knew exactly how to run it, what he wanted done, and how he wanted implemented. So he brought Derek Fisher and put him in there. And for the record, I'm going to let you guys know that Phil, I would never say Phil is a racist, but I will not be definitively against him. If someone down the road said that he was later down the road, I'd be like, possibly. There's a possibility. But I don't think race had anything to do with this situation. I think this is a basketball. This is a basketball situation. The triangle offense was not going to work with the New York Knicks. The way their personnel was designed, there was no way the triangle offense was going to work. It's not Carmelo's fault. Carmelo is playing right now the best basketball probably in his career at that time. Now, you trying to implement a new system that's mainly going to move the ball around and not going to be in his hands. So you're trying to stress movement, and guys got to move off the ball when Melo is a guy who likes to get the ball and hold the ball and then create or get in his space and get the ball in the box, down in the paint. The game is changing now. So being in the post and getting the ball down there where you could work, spin, all that stuff is gone. Now he's just trying to stutter step and, get you off your pace and beat you one-on-one. Now he doesn't do that now. Now he just catches and pull up for a jumper. Phil couldn't win because he kept making bonehead decisions. As a general manager, he was terrible. I remember Jeremy Lin waving off Kobe and hitting a game-winning shot. Jeremy Lin and Kobe Bryant did not have a very good relationship at all. Jeremy Lin will never say it now because Kobe's gone, but they didn't have a good relationship. No, Cino's just always on point. Cino is from the city. So when you're from the city, you always observe your surroundings. You use the mirrors. You use everything else. Yeah, you might be good, but Still, the hood is still in me. Well, you gotta kind of see things before they happen. So when Phil came out and blamed the media for all the shortcomings of the New York Knicks and the way they perceived him, he compared it to Trump. They did Trump the same way. The media decided they hated Trump and they just attacked him all the time. And it was okay to attack the Knicks. Nah, I don't think so, bro. They attacked Trump because of all the dumb stuff he did, which led to him being attacked. They attacked the Knicks because of all the dumb plays and dumb decisions you made. You hire a head coach who's banging all the players' girlfriends and wives. That's not a good idea. Then you tried to cover it up. We're going to suspend you for a minute, Derek, but you got to cut it out. Tim Hardaway Jr. was never the same after that. They had to trade him to Dallas. But the truth of the matter is, the only reason he took the Knicks job was because he was supposed to be in LA and he couldn't get that job because Dr. Buss's son thought Phil was disgusting for dating his sister. And would never let Phil run the Lakers. Never. So about time she took over the Lakers, Phil already was working with the Knicks. And at this point, Phil just don't want to be back. He don't want it no more. And I don't blame him. Hit the like button, people. We only at what, like 60 likes? What's going on around here? Crawford Spence. Why is people even mentioning that? Well, Phil's the best coach ever. He's not even close, and they know it. Why do you think the NBA, nobody ever champions Phil Jackson? When they do all the great coaches, do you see all the basketball shows? Nobody really talk about Phil. And he got, what, 11 championships? He got 6 championships with the Bulls. He got 5 with the Lakers. Michael and Kobe. Right, and he got 2 as a player. He got a book called 11 Rings. But do you understand why they don't give him that credit? Do you understand why they don't champion him with the great coaches? They feel Phil inherits teams. we understand that the Knicks championship, Phil wasn't really the main guy there. But we're talking about as a coach. They don't look at Phil or honor Phil with any type of, coaching awards. He was none but like a Kurt Rambis for the Knicks. He was another Rambis. Phil is definitely in that conversation. No, Phil's not in the conversation. And you know why they never put Phil in that conversation? Because they don't view it by how many championship rings you won. They view it about impact. Phil inherited a team with Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen. That was Doug's team. Doug built that team up. Doug got that team all the way there, and then Doug just got replaced. They feel any coach at that time would have came in with Michael, Scottie, and everybody else, and they would have won a championship. They bring Phil in, put him with the Lakers, and then they just start winning championships. Immediately. Once he arrived, here come championships. Now, was Kobe, Shaq, and all of them ready to win championships at that time? Yeah, they were. Pop is an entirely better coach than Phil Jackson. He's won with less. All the players he won with, mostly none of them were number one top draft picks at all. Mostly Euro players who people thought would even play or start in the league. He's still winning 50 and 60 games in the West with players you can't even pronounce right now. Lenny Wilkins, another one, the all-time winningest coach at that time. Pat's a better head coach. The greatest coach, brilliant mind I've seen was Chuck Daly, and that's why he was the coach of the Dream Team. That's right, Daddy Rich. That's a coach. Chuck was coaching in the timeouts, during the commercials, before the games, after the games. Chuck was up, snatching guys out of lineups on free throws. Everybody, get in there. People was going back and forth to that check-in booth. And as soon as the ball is out of bounds, a guy's coming out, another guy's coming in. Rotations, baby. I never knew they fired Avery Johnson like that. I thought Avery Johnson, like, they just came to a mutual agreement, like he was leaving, like, because of contract. I didn't know he got fired. I'm gonna have to go look into that. Well, that's what I'm saying. Phil was a dirty SOB. But the thing is that the Knicks was trying to win coaching a game that they don't even understand anymore, trying to run the triangle offense. The triangle offense won't even work today. The game is high pick and roll basketball, and everybody's shooting threes anyway. So the triangle offense, that stuff, you got guys running the spots. There's no center no more anyway. So that's not what was winning them games. They think Shaq, oh man, we was running the triangle and running it over there and giving the ball to Shaq. That stuff didn't mean anything. The triangle ain't free up anything just so they can give it to Shaq. There were no centers. None. To even, who was going to play center? There was none. Well, you had Greg Ostertag. You know, they had Brian Grant playing center for the Miami Heat. Mourning stayed hurt. There was no real centers in the league no more when they won it. So Shaq, and definitely in the West, David Robinson was old. Tim Duncan was the only thing there. All the old centers that retired or was broken down. I think, what's his name? Patrick Ewing was in Orlando. And then they had Akeem Olajuwon. He was in Toronto as a Raptor. And when then they played, the Orlando Magic played the Raptors, and I'm watching Pat bag down Akeem Olajuwon, and I'm just like, this looks bad. This don't even look real no more. This looks terrible. That didn't even look real no more to me. That didn't even look real. But here's the thing. The Orlando Magic, they was going to have Patrick Ewing earlier. Before Shaq went to the Lakers, Orlando was going to trade him so they wouldn't lose anything off of him. They were willing to give Patrick Ewing for him. And they turned down the deal. Don Nelson said, we got it. They want Patrick Ewing. And Shaq would have been in the Knicks uniform. Shaq would have been with the New York Knicks. Oh, Harry back, Eric Dampier, the Wolfman. The Knicks didn't want to do it. Patrick Ewing heard about that. They talking about trading him. He went to Dolan. Then Dolan was like, no, we ain't going to trade you. He was like, well, I want Don Nelson fired. He trying to trade me for Shaq. So Dolan was like, man, I got to let you go, Don. So if you want to know why Don Nelson got fired, that's why he got fired. For no reason. Because he was like, man, they want to do this deal. Don Nelson is like, what are we waiting for? We could get Shaq. Patrick Ewing is done. This is like 96. So they watched Shaq get signed, and then they ended up getting rid of Patrick Ewing anyway. I think he went to Seattle, then he went to Orlando or something. So he ended up being with the Orlando Magic anyway. Well, see, Orlando Magic don't really care right now because Orlando's bills are basically paid. They got their part owned by Disney. So that's why their name is a Magic. Like Disney, Magic, and everything. Why you think Mickey Mouse was out there and they did the promotion? They brought it in. Disney got a team. But now Disney basically run the entire league. So they basically own ESPN. So there you go. But the Orlando Magic is their representative team. So They don't have to worry about Orlando Magic moving out of Orlando. That's it. Magic Kingdom. They're it. So they're protected. Their whole thing there is to just keep making money, selling merchandise. So every now and then they got to have some star players so that the people come in and watch the games and see the magic. Like I told you, some teams don't care about winning championships. See, Orlando thing is they were successful pretty early in their career. They got Shaq, and then they ended up with Chris Webber in the draft. If it was Shaq and Webber, man, that would have been crazy. But they traded him for Penny, and that trade was working out till Penny got hurt. They picked up Horace Grant for about 2 years. Then when Shaq left, Horace Grant got injured again, and he started getting fat. And Horace was basically out of there shortly after that. But he was looked at as the savior. Like, he was the guy that was going to bring the championship to Orlando. And he did his job. He was outstanding in putting Michael Jordan them out of the playoffs. The only year Michael got put out the playoffs when he came back, Horace put him out. And it really was Horace. Horace was the main deciding factor in that series. After that game one, Horace was like it. Ho Grant. Well, his brother Harvey was more, his identical twin brother Harvey was more of a scorer. He was mostly take you off the dribble. He had more handles than Horace. And he was looked at as the better Grant of the two for a long time. For a long time, it was him. Then what changed all of a sudden was Horace started to improve on his mid-range jump shots, and he was getting to his spots. Plus, he was playing with two players that people had to pay attention to, Scottie and Michael. So when people are zoned in on them, nobody's doubling Horace Grant in the post. So you're going to get that open shot that's in the baseline. Once he got comfortable with realizing where he was, he could dominate, and he was a good rebounder. So that's why in 95, when Jordan wasn't there no more, he was having a monster year because, one, his role was so greatly defined on the team, it opened up the floor for him to be great. And it helped Scottie, so Scottie didn't have to rebound as much, and he had somebody that he could rely on. So Scottie was able to shine and have like an MVP type year. But when Horace was gone the very next year and Scottie was still there, then you got to see how good Scottie really was. He wasn't great. Wasn't nobody talking MVPs. The Bulls was losing. They was finna fall out of the playoffs till Michael came back. They was finna trade Scottie before the playoffs even started. Nobody remembers this. But they love to throw that. When Michael left, Scottie took over, man. Scottie was this. I'm like, what happened? Okay. Mike didn't come back the next year. What happened with Scottie? Why they was talking about trading him? He was throwing chairs on the court. What happened with Scottie? Jealous of Tony Kukoc was winning the games. Just like I was saying, right? The Last Dance proved me to be so truthful. Everybody like, man, you told us years ago. I'm like, I know. I know. So when they keep telling you I'm lying and I'm making it all up, then when they're proving everything right on the Last Dance, everything I said, they was, man, see, you was telling the truth. Damn right I was. There ain't no reason to lie. Scottie quit on his team when he had the migraine headache. Scottie ain't had no damn headache. I tell you what his headache was, the defense of the Detroit Pistons. That was his headache. And I guess that headache went over to Horace too, because Horace is like 0 for 5 starting that game. And Scottie was like missing stuff right at the rim. And he's like, oh, I got a headache. I'm spinning. Oh, man. Yeah, because the game was getting away from y'all. And it was happening early. Then they started coming back. Mike was not going to relent. Mike kept fighting. Mike like, stay in the game. Keep fighting. What y'all doing? I don't know what's happening. I'm like, I know what's happening. I know what's happening right now. That's called the pressure. Phil wasn't a great GM. That's just the facts. The people he chose to come in the game were not good people. And then once he had to fire Derek Fisher, who was his buffer, now he's like, now I got to try to find somebody I could bring in here to run the damn plays. You screwed me all up here. Oh, Jeff Hornacek, the second worst selection, right behind Vinny Del Negro. Who everybody just called Vinny Del Nigga. Vinny Del Negro came in there. He was terrible for the Bulls. He didn't know what the hell he was doing. I don't know who decided to hire him as a coach. They was like, if you was a white point guard in the NBA, you could be a head coach. And I'm like, man, they keep getting all these white guards that couldn't play in the NBA. But I guess they was good with the remembering the plays that they were never going to run. Fred Hoiberg. Yeah, you could be a coach. Like, what? Fred Hoiberg, career average, 3 points. Steve Kerr, never averaged double digits a day of the season in his career. But everybody thought he was a killer because he played on the Bulls on them 3 championships. Steve Kerr, they was like, yeah, Skur, man, he was something else. Scott Skiles could play, though. That man still got the record of 30 assists. He had, 30 assists in one game? I remember that game. He could have had 40. Yeah, I gotta go to this party, man. I really, I don't really want to do the party, but I gotta show my face there, smile, entertain for about an hour and leave. I'm outside of my car. They thinking they probably gonna be pissed off at me. He's not gonna show. I'm gonna show, but then I'm gonna go. Right, UCLA just cost me a fortune. They don't want to go. Yeah, Bear, I heard Gavin just been whooping you all up and down the field. What's going on? He said you call him daddy now. He said he called me daddy, I call him son. I'm like, man, what's going on over there? Now, that's it. Why I'm not talking about that? Why do I want to mention about the time I'm losing money? Because these referees went to UCLA. They stole that game from Bama. Yeah, UCLA trash. And they carrying this trash team all the way up there. When they were tied at 52, I said, this is some bull. Oh, man, I was so mad. It was like 9 minutes to go or something. And they were tied at 52. I was mad as hell. Mad as hell. I hate UCLA. Go blue. Go blue. Yeah, we're going to do it when they get to all the teams, we get to the Elite Eight, and we'll start doing the video for that. But I'm out.